With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at meistercon.com or on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Nice.
Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I am so excited today. I've got actor, writer, director, Vas Saranga with me. So welcome, Vas.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we got rid of all the topics that everybody wanted to hear about before we came on. We talked about the weather. We talked about car mechanics. We covered.
Oh my gosh, there should be a pre-show. You ever thought about that? It's just you hit record and then it just goes on like it's like a metaverse of pre-shows. The pre-show. You could put the pre-show and after the credits at the end. Some people like that stuff. That's genius. A post pre-show.
A post.
This is where the confusion comes from, and then you get all these extra views and listens because people are like, "Wait a minute, did I hear that? Did I not?"
Yeah. We've done that. My son, he'll pop in on occasion and do an interview for me, but he does all the editing. He doesn't really like being on camera, but we've done that where it's just us just goofing around, before we start, and then we'll stick it at the end after the credits, but we don't tell anybody it's on there. So if they happen to listen all the way through the music at the end, then there'll be something on there.
I love that kind of stuff.
We thought was hilarious, but nobody else.
Oh, you're doing like the Marvel post, like mid credits and then post roll. Totally. Right. Now I'm going to listen to every one, and then I'm going to have that disappointed feeling when there's nothing at the very end. The lights come on. Yeah.
I know. I've set it up, and today we released episode 551.
That's incredible.
And there's probably 5 of them that have after.
Right. I got some work to do to find those nuggets.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you which ones it was. I'd have to go back and listen.
You got some work to do to figure out.
Yeah, it's there. I promise, it's there.
Yeah.
I should give a prize if you find it.
Yeah. And the prize is that you get to be on the podcast, but only in the pre-show that comes at the end.
That's right. It's only
Yes. And then you have to find it. So it goes on forever.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Well, Vas, let's start this way. Tell me a little bit about what got you into the entertainment business. Why do you want to become an actor?
Oh yeah, I love talking about this. By the way, I'm one of those people that I'm not I don't know, hemming and hawing, trying to come up. I would you have to hit stop at a certain point to shut me up. Yeah,
I'm okay with that. Just go.
Okay. Just a hard cut. Yeah, no, definitely. If I try to trace it back, so my parents tell me that they took me to the original Tim Burton Batman when I was 5 years old, and I have no recollection of it. Probably because as a child, that's a scary movie. That is such a dark, gothic, incredible movie. It is, and I have no recollection of that until I got out on VHS and I watched it a million times. But the Back to the Future series was really what sealed the deal for me. That was just ignited my spark for film.
Is that your favorite Michael J. Fox movie?
Totally. Yeah. 100%.
Movies,
100%.
I guess.
Yes. All of them. Those three more than anything. I was nuts about Family Ties. So,
me too.
So I loved them. Yeah. So that was one of my favorite shows growing up, and that sort of wise beyond his years, kind of quippy, sarcastic, goofy, I really connected with that. And,
all his roles early on kind of played that same type of character.
For sure.
Yes.
And actually I connect with that too, that bringing that same essence from movie to movie. And then you kind of know what you're going to get, but you don't, what I mean? Some of our favorite movie characters of all time operate that way. Our favorite actors of all time operate that way. You're Harrison Ford, Denzel Washington, you even if they're even if Denzel is playing a transformational character and he's got different hair, makeup, wardrobe, there's still that quality. You know what I mean? Yeah. And
you don't mind it. You know what you're going to get. It's going to be good, so you don't mind.
Yes, totally. And I embrace that. And that's what I loved about Michael J. Fox, is that he brought humor to the drama. And actually, I remember seeing a special feature about how Eric Stoltz was recast and Michael J. Fox got the role.
I'd heard that. Yeah, I've heard that story.
And one of the reasons was the not nailing the comedic part of it. So he had that, like, you know, teen lead actor part down, you know, but bringing the comedy to that drama, or to the
Eric
adventure.
Stoltz, he's more of a brooding type of presence.
Totally. Yeah. And maybe not quite big enough to play Biff. And also Biff is a comedic character too. Like they all,
Biff's
you know,
the best.
Yeah, he's unreal. Have you ever Tom Wilson, I think, have you ever seen his stand-up?
I have.
He does, yeah, it's great, right? And he does a lot of stuff
funny.
about questions that he gets asked incessantly about Back to the Future, like, was it real manure? Like you know, did you shoot all the movies back to back? What is Crispin Glover like? And like he just puts it all into a song.
Yeah.
And it got great punchlines in there. But yeah, to answer your question more directly, that movie sparked it all. I wanted to be a filmmaker after that movie. And I was a naive kid. I thought Steven Spielberg directed the movie until I realized maybe when I was like 10 or 11 that it was Robert Zemeckis and not, you know.
Well, it's to be fair, it had that Spielberg type of feel.
It did, and he's a producer on it, and I think he's a co-writer as well. So it did have that like sense of wonder and awe, and the scope of it, like what movies were like capable of, like flying cars. You know what I mean? And then the joke of like, oh my gosh, like believing as an 8-year-old kid that the world was going to look like that in 2015. You know?
I know we were so disappointed when we didn't have the you know, the hovercrafts and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Flying taxis and you know, and all that stuff. But yeah, that made me want to be a director, and I would be that kid that was shooting home movies, and like I had a high-8 camera, and I was always like taping everybody and making little edits, and I would use 2 VCRs to like do the editing, like from one to the next. Like you hit play on one, you go in from the high-8 camera to the first like VCR, and then like you pause it and you hit record on the other one, and then like that's like doing the dual editing system kind of thing. And I carried that all the way through high school.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I actually was taking some film classes, which was like media arts, screen arts. That's kind of like what they were called. And we'd have to make some films. And I was one of those guys that like every time I had a book report for English, I'm like, hey, teach, I'm going to make a movie. Okay. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And they're like, Vas, that's not the assignment. I was like, coming right up. You just wait. Right?
I got it.
You know? Yeah. And they're like, I need 500. I need 1,000 words. I'm like, cool. I read you loud and clear. Screenplay. Got it. I'm going to write a screenplay. So, and they're just shaking their heads going like, I know where this kid is headed. So I would start putting myself in the student films. And that's where I got this taste for acting, which was, I think it's really fun being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And then all the stress of being behind the camera. And I continue to direct and write and all that kind of stuff too. But yeah, being in front of the camera is my thing. That's and ever since then. Awesome. So making student films, and then when I saw The Matrix, you better believe I was trying to set up, borrowing everyone's high-8 camera and making this circle of cameras and trying to do bullet time, like running from one to the next. Oh, if you were there, I'd be like, Mike, hit record on those 10 cameras, and I get my brother to do that.
That's kind of awesome. Did you save the films? Do you still have them?
No, I have like, I might have a VHS of like some home movie kind of stuff. Yeah. But here's the problem is I digitize, like when I was making stuff, digital was just coming out. So we did, so everything, like all that stuff in high school went to computers, and then all those hard drives crashed and all.
I know, we all went through some of that.
Yeah, I don't have a single file from like when I had the first iMac or whatever. Like I don't have anything. Yeah. So
yeah, because it sucked when you kind of figured that at some point that's probably going to happen, and then it happened.
Yep. Yeah, and then the wires are incompatible, like USB 1.0, and like I can't for the life of me find like a way to plug that in, and like there's no way I'm gonna like resurrect some old hard drive from like 20 years ago and try to figure out. That's the premise of a lot of like conspiracy movies.
That's right.
Is we found this old hard drive, and they're like, when's it from? And they're like 1994. They're like, it's got to have some messed up shit on it. You know what I mean?
Bigfoot is real.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're telling me that someone still carries around one of these like 1995 hard drives, like that they ripped out of a tower, a PC that was custom built.
You know, I held on to my first computer way past when I should have, gotten rid of because of that. I didn't want to get rid of my stuff on it.
Yeah, that was smart.
And then, but eventually
Yeah.
there was no saving it.
Mm.
Well, and
There
those
always
things
comes
back,
that point.
like a 95 computer, that thing weighed a ton.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember having like a 19-inch monitor and it weighed like 75 pounds or something. My dad nearly broke his back and he was like, you better get straight A's, like as he's carrying this thing out of like the IBM store.
When you had to, did you ever have like a computer class in high
Yeah,
school
I
where
did.
you had to program, like on a
Oh
DOS
yeah.
computer?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I did
You
that.
do the
And I'll
little
tell you, I'll tell
trees.
you a funny story about it. Like, we had some assignment where we had to do, I think it was like some programming language. I think it was Pascal or something like that. And it looked like my assignment, you were supposed to make some kind of prompts, like yes or no type prompts.
Yep.
And my like end of the year assignment was basically making the matrix, like green letters that just randomly appear on the screen. And it was like, do you want to go down the rabbit hole, Neo? Yes or no? It's like red pill or blue pill. And then like
I think I had
this?
that assignment.
That was so fun. That was like my love of movies carried through every single thing that I learned in school. And you being a Lord of the Geeks, let's say, right?
Yes, let's say
you
that.
can relate. You can relate. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just put that on a t-shirt.
My wife she did the same thing. She grew up doing those kind of DOS programming, whatever you called it back then. But so we met when we both worked at a Ticketmaster call center. All right. So
that's cool.
This was in the late 90s. And she programmed all of their, ticket sale computers.
Wow.
So all of their ticket selling, she programmed it.
That's pretty incredible.
I know, it's pretty amazing. And it's 25 years later. She's still working. Well, it's now Live Nation. She doesn't work for Ticketmaster anymore. She works for corporate, Live Nation. Okay. But Ticketmaster, I probably shouldn't say, but Ticketmaster, they're still using the same programs that she wrote selling tickets. It's been 25 years. I'm like, maybe it's time they upgraded their system.
They have their original hard drives. We need to hit them up for that footage. My footage is on there.
They may still have the footage.
Oh my gosh.
But I love that story because you're right. Most people they kind of hem haul around. They're like, oh, I've been doing this since I was 2 or whatever. But they can't really give you any details on it. But you've got it all lined out.
Oh, I had like a beautiful mind. I had to piece it together. Like, where did those come from? And my parents were not for this initially. Coming from a South Asian background, my parents are immigrants. They were really scared of me going into the entertainment industry, and they were really, really, really pushing me to be an engineer. And I dabbled in that a little bit. And
you gotta have a fallback.
Oh my gosh! And for me, I was like, you know what? If acting doesn't work out, then directing. Well, if directing doesn't work out, then writing. Well, if writing doesn't work out, then producing. It's like
engineer was like 7th on the list.
Oh yeah. Add a 0 to that, and that's where it would be.
Well, how did your parents handle it once you really decided that's what you're going to do? Because parents that usually we just want our kids to have something secure that's going to make money, make a living. So how did they handle it?
Okay, so I basically told them once I was already on TV. I pretty much kind of like kept it under the radar. I was in school, I was studying, I was auditioning, I had a coach, and I was making films, and I was writing and directing and doing all this stuff, doing my exams. And then I got a kids TV series, and that started to air. And then that's when I was like, Mom and Dad.
Was that MUDPIT?
It was before MUDPIT, but MUDPIT was one of the big ones. Yeah, it was called A World of Wonders. And it was on, and it was on TV Ontario. And it was, it's played all over the world. It's an award-winning kids series. And I got to play this goofy this character called the Webmaster, where I was, it was kind of like a little bit of a Night of the Museum kind of vibe. Yeah. Like there was a world traveler, and I was the webmaster at the Museum of Civilization, and I was like in the museum at night doing all kinds of stuff, being creeped out by the dinosaur bones and stuff. And I would be like sending this world traveler on missions, and she would have a camera crew where they were like actually going into like pyramids and you know, and
That
and
sounds
looking for
awesome.
Aztec treasure and things like that. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then
Mhm.
after that was MUDPIT, I guess.
Yeah,
And
MUDPIT
did
came
I
after that.
read like you wrote most of the music for the show?
So I didn't write the music. I performed some of the music,
Oh, you
yeah, along with the
performed it.
cast.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I wrote the music, but no, they had really talented writers, and there was a producer on the music. His name's Greg Norrie. He was a lead singer in a band called Treble Charger, and he was also produced albums for Sum 41 and a bunch of other
Oh,
great
nice.
bands.
Yes,
So
he
we had
might
a
know what he's doing.
yeah, he knows what he's doing. And what's cool is we had a rock and roll camp. So we were just a bunch of actors who kind of had some musical talent. Like I could play the guitar, play a little bit of piano and stuff, like drums and stuff. So in the audition process, we had to like show off our musical skills. And so I did a little bit of kind of Green Day, kind of grunge rock kind of
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
on the guitar, which is cool. I try to make it seem like I was cooler than it actually was. I'm sure it sounded, you know, it sounded probably like Green Day before they knew how to play any instruments. Yeah, I kind of you know, that was my vibe on that. Was so I was one of the guitar players on the show, and then you know, we had a drummer, we had a bassist, and we had a lead singer and guitarist, and they put us through a music camp basically, kind of like band slam. Yeah, and we worked on singing, and we worked on like stage performance and stage presence, and they put us in the booth, and like they, you know, they had producers, like, and we had backup singers and things like that too. So if you listen to the songs and you're like, hey, Vas can sing, there's a lot of magic going on there to really sell that.
Maybe that's the only thing that has kept me from being a hit in the music industry is I just needed better backup.
Oh yeah. Well, you got great backup in that background right there. You couldn't ask for better backup, right?
You're right. See,
Yeah.
if I was better at Photoshop, then when I had a guest on, I'd throw them in the background.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm not.
Imagine
I had somebody do that.
570 guests, just like
All
Where's
of them.
Waldo? Yeah.
Yeah. I just have every time I have somebody on, I'll be like, okay, now I need you to yell con so I can I can get the shot.
Oh my gosh. The overhead shot looking up with the spinning camera.
So loved you on the Strain.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's the one that for me that I remember seeing you on. Although was Aaron Stone, was that after the Strain?
Aaron Stone came before the Strain.
That's what I thought. I thought it was before because I did watch that show with
awesome.
the kids when they were younger. So maybe that was where I first saw.
Maybe that's where you first caught a glimpse of me there. But the Strain is definitely one of the more popular shows that I've worked on. I mean, it's Guillermo, right? So like it's and yeah, that was a big one. That was an amazing experience.
That was it was a really good show. Very creepy. Like
oh, totally.
I thought their version of vampires was very good.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's where sometimes I'll get recognized for that. Like, hey, were you Hassan on the Strain? Like, you know, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, totally. Proudly, I can say proudly. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Well, and then my wife and I watched you on Orphan Black. Enjoyed you
awesome.
as well. You know, I'm nerdy, so if it's got a sci-fi element,
it's got the sci-fi. Yeah,
it.
I figured the sci-fi ones were going to be the ones that you know were your cup of tea. That was like one of the all-time favorite shows, and like having scenes with Tatiana Maslany, that's unreal. That goes down in the books. So
I know, isn't it funny that like when that show first came out, nobody knew who she was.
Yeah,
you know, and then it didn't take long, and now you say that, and you're like, oh yeah,
oh my gosh, yeah. exactly. But they recognized her like that Emmy Award, I think was like season 2 or 3.
Oh yeah. Well,
right?
She should have. She deserved it because she was playing so many different characters.
Oh my gosh, and just doing them so incredibly well. And then when I get to set, she's like, "Hey, are you Vas? Like, I saw your name on the call sheet." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I think I know you. I think I met your brother." And oh, do you want a muffin? And I was like, "Tatiana Maslany's handing out muffins. Give me 5."
Do you still have that muffin?
It has biodegraded.
Stuck in the freezer somewhere, man.
Yes. Yeah, and then sell it. She-Hulk muffins, right?
You know they would sell.
Oh, for sure. and they're green because of the mold. So that like it just works out. No.
At the end of it, you have to have the disclaimer: "Do not eat the muffin."
Yes. Yeah. No, Vas Saranga is not responsible for any green muffins that are eaten. Right? Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the American Pie that you did, because you got to work with Eugene Levy.
Oh my God.
Which is, I mean, I know Schitt's Creek has kind of got him out there, but he's been pretty awesome for decades.
He's been a comedy legend for decades, and known obviously far more in like improv comedy circles in his earlier days.
Well, the SCTV stuff was terrific.
Yeah, and actually, like, I didn't grow up with that stuff, but I did grow up a little bit with Kids in the Hall and that kind of stuff. But a little more SNL than SCTV. But then I discovered Eugene Levy in like the Christopher Guest movies.
Oh yeah, so good,
just unbelievable. And then like, you know, being a kid and not realizing how much of that was improvised, like almost all. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I know it's when you think about it, it's kind of amazing. I mean, he's talented, and funny, and he's also one that plays a lot of similar characters in the stuff he does, but they're so good.
He's got this way of just flowing, and that's kind of how I see acting, is just taking parts of your personality and adapting them to the character, taking on new stuff. Like I said, like learning to play, learning stage presence and to sing and to play better guitar. And that's just an extension of me. And then, you know, amping up some of my comedic qualities for one role, and then, you know, focusing in on that like sinister quality for Orphan Black, you know, like that kind of thing. Right. But not having this, like, you know, I'm not one of those actors like, you have your Tom Hardys and your Christian Bales and your Kate Winslets and stuff, and your Daniel Kaluuyas, where you're like, who is that? Is that them? Oh my gosh. Like that can't be it. That can't be them, because they just like lost 100 pounds or something. Like, you know,
I know. How did they, like, I always, think of like Val Kilmer playing Doc Holliday, or Dennis Quaid playing Doc Holliday for that matter, where they lost so much weight. And Christian Bale and that, what was that? The Machinist.
Machinist. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They
just yo-yoing.
Yeah. Just, and that can't be good for you.
No. Yeah. Those are art. That's literally a starving artist, if I've ever seen one. Yeah. Right. So, but those are like the artists that like will die for their craft kind of thing. Yeah. Right. I want to be around to see the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a movie goer. I'm the popcorn, like, you know, like I will go. I'm not one of those actors that's like, I can't watch myself. Like, I'm watching the other actors. I think it's a disservice to not see the thing that you're in. I
agree.
I mean, because look at all the amazing performances that are around you and the movie magic that made it come to the screen.
Well, maybe you learn something.
Exactly. I have learned on
help you out
every single time.
I do that with the podcast. I listen to all the episodes of the podcast, but just because I'm trying to figure out ways to get better, you know, to improve.
Yeah. And you're also trying to figure out where to put your head.
Well, yes, it's that's very stressful trying to figure out where to put people in the picture. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. As you learn to Photoshop, as you're learning, you're Photoshopping as we speak on a futuristic 2015 Back to the Future tablet, right? You know, I just remember in the second Back to the Future, like he's just walking around the streets, and then, you know, the cars are kind of hovering, and then he looks and there's this movie theater, and then it's got this hologram of Jaws, and it's like Jaws 23 or whatever, and like it just comes out, he's screaming, and it comes out to like actually bite him, and he realizes it's a hologram.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to go back and watch those movies.
Yeah. Oh, I do it. Yeah, every year I sit down with the family. I
think the last time we watched them was probably when the kids were younger and all at home. You know, because I tried to do that. All the 80s movies I loved, I tried to at some point show them to them. But that's probably the last time. So that's probably been, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Wow. Definitely worth revisiting.
Yeah, it's time to rewatch.
It's long overdue.
Yeah, because they're so good.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those that you forget. Like, you know, it's good, but you forget how good it is until you rewatch it. Like, it's still good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where you forget until I run around telling people to keep watching it.
Yeah.
Like,
please keep watching.
I just, you know, as if Universal Pictures needs my promotion, like the word of mouth from Vas like get people to watch.
That's what we're waiting on.
If only Vas had just told more podcast hosts.
If you'd let us know, we'd probably still be watching Back to the Future.
Yep, residuals.
Be on like 18 or something.
Oh my god.
So your new show is You're My Hero.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little about this, because this I think it sounds really unique and fun, and like it'd be great to watch. And it comes out like Friday, is that right?
Yeah,
like 2 days?
Totally. It's imminent.
Yeah.
It's dropping any day now on Friday. So You're
so
My Hero.
What's the show about? What's your role in?
So the show's a comedy. I call it Comedy with Heart, and it's a great new show. It centers around a character named Ian. He's really blunt. He's unfiltered. He's a 20-something dude just dealing with life's problems, but he's also got cerebral palsy and he's in a wheelchair. So he's got an entirely new set and unique set of issues that he has to deal with day to day in the pursuit of love, life, happiness, friendship, dating, work, play, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I play Eric, one of the lead characters. I'm his best friend and roommate. Best description that I can give of Eric is emotionally immature, life of the party, dude with a heart of gold, basically. So it's not a bro, more of a doofus than anything.
I think the premise sounds hilarious. I could see where there's so much, especially with the whole roommate thing, you could do a lot.
Yeah, totally. And the one of the major drivers of the comedy in the show and the friendship arc between Eric and Ian, so myself and the creator and lead actor of the show, Sean Togood, is the fact that Eric isn't really that sensitive to the accessibility requirements of his friend when Eric wants something for himself. So, hey, we got to get to this party. We have like 10 minutes to get there. Oh my gosh, like you got to come with me. You got to stay up all night. You're going to miss the chance for your personal support worker to help you into bed. Doesn't matter. I'll help you and I'll screw it up, right? No? So there's a lot
it sounds hilarious. So is it, when it drops, is it going to be weekly, or is it coming out all at once?
They're doing the binge thing, so they're going to drop all 7 episodes at the same time. So that's going to be exciting. Yeah, and I think it's going to be it's one of those, like, it's going to be a really fun binge.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It sounds awesome. Yeah, and just like I was reading the description for it, and I was like, that sounds funny to me, because you could make it into a drama if you wanted to, but why would you? It's so good for comedy.
It's just Sean, who created the show, has a way of looking at the world that even in dramatic situations, the comedy is going to come. The lighthearted quality and the ironic quality and the sardonic qualities are going to come to the surface, and that the humor is just going to be there no matter what. And so, when there's a lot of drama in the show, and there's some heavy dramatic moments, but they are so nicely balanced out by big comedy set pieces. And that's just the type of show that I like to watch.
Me too.
It has that really heartwarming, like Ted Lasso quality to it, but really that fun kind of 20-something discovering coming of age kind of through line to it too.
Yeah, I love that. Who's the actor playing Ian?
So that's Sean Togood, and he also created the show. So some of it is based on his life experience. He's one of the main writers. He's co-wrote all the episodes. He created the concept, and he stars as the lead character. So he's wearing a lot of hats.
That's a lot of hats.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of hats. Yeah,
I tried to steal some from him. I'm like, hey, you can, if you're giving away producer credits, I'm here, right?
I have very limited experience with Hollywood, but even I know you should always ask for the producer credit.
100%.
You never know. Maybe they'll toss that your way.
Wisdom for the ages. Ages.
Right? Always negotiate the producer credit.
Exactly. And then remove yourself.
If you're really big, you can ask for executive, right? Executive. But you gotta be big.
Yep. And you get that front credit, right?
That's right.
Just like dropping that name, like Guillermo del Toro's, Pinocchio, right? Like you got to have that
Yeah.
like right on, right on top.
I always laugh because now that's the thing. Anytime you see a big budget movie or TV show or whatever it is, the actors in it always have producing credits. It cracks me up.
They all have their own production companies. So
Yeah.
it's like at the start of a movie now, especially if it's indie, you have 10 minutes of like, sometimes I think it's the movie and I'm like, whoa, that's a cool intro. I'm like, oh, it's just Brad Pitt's Plan B Entertainment. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, that movie looks sick. Oh, it's just Spyglass Entertainment's
That's right.
intro
It's just the
visualization.
intro.
Right?
That is
Yeah.
true. The intros to movies are starting to get kind of long before you even get to the movie because it's all these little, every company has their own little intro.
And they're all motion graphics and they all like have a story to them. And yeah, eventually they're going to be, each one of those is going to be spun off into what you described earlier, which would be the pre-show that happens at the end.
Oh, there you go.
just the outro.
The post pre-show.
Yes. Of the production companies. Just spinning away with their 3D graphics at the end. But you know what?
We laugh now, but we'll be watching something and they'll do it.
Oh, that MeisterCon thing is going to be expanding like an accordion at a certain point for 10 minutes straight before the start of a podcast.
So my oldest, big Christmas movie fan. So that was her question was, do you have any plans to do any more?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I actually got 2 coming out this year. Well, one's a Christmas. So one's called Mistletoe Match, and that's going to be on Lifetime Network. And that's going to be dropping this year, 2023, like November-ish, like holiday season. So that's one that I shot, and and that's coming down the pipeline. And then, does your oldest like the rom-coms that are not Christmas?
Yes, of course.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. So then I got another one. It's called A Match for the Prince, and it's a delightful rom-com, and I play a supporting character. And that one, I'm not sure which network it's hitting, but that will be later this year as well. Yeah.
I think she talked about one called Baking All the Way.
Yeah, that just came out this past Christmas. Did she enjoy it?
Oh yeah. She loves them. I always ask her, I'll be like, here's the actor I'm having on. Have they ever been in a Christmas movie? And she can usually tell you.
Yeah, really? Wow. That's good. Like holiday rom-coms and like TV movie rom-coms, like they have very dedicated fan base.
Yeah.
They almost have their own geek culture.
They really do. And I think it's because it's like comfort food.
Yep.
It's going to wrap up in a nice little bow. Everybody's going to be happy. And I think that's what draws people.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like it's it's like 4-quadrant thing. Like you can watch it with the whole family. Like there's kids in the room, there's grandparents in the room. People aren't going to be like, turn that damn TV off. That's right, or whatever. You know what I mean? And kids aren't going to be like, gross. Like.
Well, and I'm one that I always make fun of. Her watching all the Christmas movies, but anytime that I watch for a couple of seconds, I'm hooked. I end up sitting down and watching it. So I get it. They're just fun. You know what's coming, so it's not really a surprise, but it's nice when you know it's going to all work out at the end.
Yes, I think we need that, especially post pandemic, post-pandemic world where we still have a lot of medical concerns and all that kind of stuff. Like just anything that has that warm, comfy feeling and also entertains is really sought after by audiences, and I embrace it. I love being one of the best parts about doing these TV rom-coms is just how fun it is to actually shoot them. Like you wouldn't believe it's such a low pressure environment, and it's all about just having fun on set. And it's not like like when James Gunn has to answer to like a million fans who are like going to shred him to pieces if he does something wrong. Like it's
that's not true. I hadn't thought of that, but probably fairly low pressure.
Those are very high stakes environment. Like you do anything Star Trek, Star Wars related, like you better
not mess those up.
Yeah, you better be true to source material, or you better have justification for changing things and having a new spin on it. You got to earn the audience's trust. Whereas with the Lifetime and Hallmark and rom-coms and stuff, it's like you have that audience trust built in.
Yeah.
So you can just like, as the people on set are just like, it's just so fun to be on those sets. And then yeah, talking to fans of those movies are always like, they always want to know what your next, are you going
Yeah.
to be in another one? And that's like fantastic. I just love that.
I know. Do they do like Christmas movie conventions?
I don't know. If they're doing them, they're not inviting me. So that's a
Yeah,
good
because
point.
I would think if they did those, they would do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I wonder the dedication level compared to sci-fi geeks in terms of traveling for those things,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It wouldn't be the
right?
same.
Sci-fi geeks will go to the end of the earth.
Yes.
Oh, it's in the North Pole? Wait, is it at Superman's Fortress of Solitude? Oh, it's not. It's on a glacier that might melt any day now. Okay, well, I'll be there.
I'm in.
I'll be there. Yeah, exactly.
And did I see that you were working on like a TV pilot?
So there was a pilot that I did called On a Quest, and it's a fantasy comedy, and it's in that shopping process, but it's shot, it's in the can, and it's been chopped around to networks and stuff like that.
That's pretty exciting. Are you acting
Yeah.
in it as well?
Yeah, I'm one of the lead actors in it, and it's kind of like uh, um, Lord of the Rings meets Quest for the Holy Grail.
I'm hooked.
Yeah, it's got, but it's also like kind of like got this like RPG game vibe, like a little bit of Legend of Zelda, like
Yeah.
it got a little Warcraft elements to it, but it's a comedy. So yeah, it's called
Sounds
On a
great.
Quest, and hopefully that gets out there. But awesome creative team, tons of improvisers involved, some of whom have come through Second City, like Eugene Levy, who we talked about before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's
excited for that
exciting.
one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, if you get that one made, you got to come back talk about that.
Oh, for sure. I'd be so happy to come back and talk about that.
Yeah, that's exciting though. Yeah, you hit all the elements there.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah,
started with fantasy. Once you said fantasy, I was like, I'm probably gonna like it.
Yeah. Oh, it hits all the tropes. It really mines those tropes of like, RPG games and these it's done on a much lower budget. So there's the funny qualities of like like the coins and exchanging them for like better like weapons and clothing, but having those be kind of like
I love that.
Not up to par.
Well, I'm sold. So let's get it made.
Great. Let's get you.
Well, I guess it's made. Let's get the show made.
Let's get it out there. Yeah. But
get it out there.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess at the worst, you could always turn it into like a web series, something like that.
Right. Yeah. That's something that's been kind of floated around as well, because it does appeal to that audience.
Yeah.
As well. Like, it kind of has that that as bite-sized episodes, I think could still make an impact.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm rooting for you on that one.
Oh, thanks.
That'd be pretty great.
Yeah,
I've always wanted that. I just can't write. My son writes. I always telling him, I was like, how about something sci-fi with that?
Oh, you just got to piggyback off of just be around when he's writing. And then get one little suggestion in there, and boom, co-write.
Can I get a producer credit on that?
Yes. No, that's it. It's all about that producer credit. As long as you can loop it back to that, then But people who write, I write, but I tend to write with writing partners. Yeah. Writing it's a process. It's a long process.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's such an incredible way to get all the stuff floating around in your head out creatively out there into the world, even if no one sees it.
When you're done writing something, does that get it out of your head? I mean, I know you still think about it, but does that satisfy whatever that is, where you're like, I got to get this created? Is that enough, or does it have to get made?
I think you're onto something. I think it's like, once the grass is always greener, once you get it out there, you're not like, I retire, you know what I mean? Yeah. Mic drop, like drop the manuscript on the floor and walk away. Like at that point, you're like, okay, now everyone needs to see this. Like,
now everybody needs to see it.
So,
yeah, because that's an accomplishment. If you can get it out of your head onto paper, just that 100%. Is an accomplishment. That's not easy.
Yeah, that's the hardest part is starting, honestly, and that's why the greats are always writing. They are just, they have stuff coming down the pipeline.
Well, I know there's like 10, James 20 Patterson, years ago. Stephen King. They're releasing a book a week.
Yeah, Yeah, and actually, that reminds me of Firestarter, the Stephen King movie
Oh
that
yeah,
that they remade, and I was lucky enough to have a role in that movie, and
Oh,
and
you were an agent in that movie.
yes, yeah, and that, Stephen King giving the go ahead for that movie to it's like that was amazing for me to see a writer publicly say like, yep, I trust this team at Blumhouse, I trust Keith Thomas, the director, and I would love to see what they do with this movie, 20 plus years after the original.
Yeah,
And that must be really interesting for because once the work is out there, it can be adapted, it can be remade, and
yeah.
so your ideas can live on. And if it's like, Spider-Man or whatever, it'll be remade every 2 years,
That's
right?
right. That's why
They
I
keep
keep saying,
getting
I was
better,
like,
so yeah.
you can keep remaking Spider-Man. We don't really need the origin story anymore.
Right,
We
right,
got
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, they like that is one of the best origin stories ever captured in a movie.
Yeah,
The Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire first Spider-Man,
yeah, it's
like,
pretty great.
yeah, yeah. That's why I think the Tom Holland ones are good, because they're not trying to
That's right.
they're not
Which
trying to
I
retell
love.
the
I
origin.
love that they're. I mean, you
Hmm.
get little hints at it and stuff, which is fine, but they don't go
Yeah,
into the full story. They kind of like,
yeah.
you already know he's Spider-Man. Here you go.
They let it be. They let it live. And then, of course, with the No Way Home and the multiverse and all that stuff, we get that taste of the
Yeah,
original stuff back,
so
right?
much. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty great. If I'm a comic book nerd,
Uh-huh.
so getting to see all this stuff made is just unbelievable.
That-
We didn't have the stuff we were getting made back in the like late 80s, early 90s, not the best. I mean, other than the Batman stuff. That
yeah.
was pretty
I
solid.
feel like that almost started that whole
It
like,
did.
ooh, these adaptations can actually be really good.
Yeah.
Like if you get the right people involved, like these can change the landscape of comic
Yeah.
book adaptations. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Uh-huh.
We talk Marvel's. They've gotten a little off track. Maybe the last few, but they'll get it
Hmm.
back. They'll make
Yeah.
adjustments, and I'm confident in them. They've made enough good ones that it'll
We
it'll
got
be
plenty of
fine.
content, right?
Yeah, we got
We
tons of
got,
content.
yeah, and kids growing up today, like I can't imagine having 20 plus, movies and a bunch of ongoing
Yeah.
series like that, just constantly like sub characters
Oh, it'd be
getting
a
their
great time
own
to grow up.
shows. Like, yeah. I mean, aside from pandemic and all that kind of stuff,
Well,
but
that's right.
yes,
There's some
yes,
downsides.
yeah, some major downsides, but in terms of entertainment,
That's right.
definitely,
They definitely have
especially
more
in the
options than we
in
have.
the geekdom, there is way more options, way more
Tons of
options.
options.
Yeah, and you can
Well,
always
Vas,
revisit the classics.
oh yeah, and I'm all for it. Like if you want to put whatever it is, an old Star Trek on or Goonies, whatever,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yep.
Anytime, you call me like, hey, we're watching the Goonies night. Oh, okay, I'll be
Yeah.
there.
And if you want to see one of the kids from the Goonies win an Oscar for an incredible movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, you can get that too.
That the best, because award shows are they're so long, and
Oh yeah.
it can be a little dry, but
Yes.
the best thing about this one was everybody that won those main awards was great.
Yeah.
That was, you were like rooting for all of them.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool,
That
and
was a big one.
definitely seeing Short Round come back,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was pretty great.
Totally.
Well, Vas, this has been terrific. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
you
Mike.
have to come back. We get the pilot
I would
made, or
love
you
to
get
come
the
back.
next big thing after You're My Hero. You got to come back.
All right. We'll set that. We'll set.
We'll do it
and
again.
hopefully we'll do it again, and then hopefully my face will be in that background there along with yours.
Oh, it'll be there.
Right?
And next time we'll do the post pre.
Oh yes, yeah, and the pre-post.
And the pre-post.
So you're going to take this little end of the interview, put it at the beginning, and then the rambling we do at the beginning, you put it at the end.
Oh,
and it doesn't matter if there's a podcast in the middle.
I think you're onto something. We'll put the ending at the beginning, and they'll be like, "How'd they get there?" Well, just keep watching.
A little Pulp Fiction kind of style, right? You just cut it non-linear. This podcast is changing the landscape of storytelling.
You know, a lot's been said about this podcast, but changing the landscape has never been one of them.
Now you can use that quote.
Oh, I will.
Yes,
If
completely
you've
out of
ever
context.
watched the show, you know I'll use it.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. Fast before we go,
Yeah.
anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out?
I got another movie that should be hitting the festival circuit this year. It's I'm really excited about it. It's called Doubles with Slight Pepper, and it's a movie you know, set in the world of Caribbean restaurants, and it was based on a short film, and it's got this heartfelt story about a father and son reconnecting and redemption and all that kind of stuff. And I'm playing a supporting character in this movie, and it won an award for the short film that it's based on at TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, a couple of years back, and then it was turned into a feature film. Ian Harnerine directing this movie. I'm really excited for it. So it should be hitting the festival circuit this year.
Oh, it is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, well, maybe when that one comes out, you can come
Cool.
back. That's awesome. So last thing before we go, where can we find you on social media?
You can best place is Instagram at Vas_Saranga.
Yeah, I found you pretty easy.
Yeah.
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 Not a ton of Vas Sarangas out there.
No. Yeah. I'm glad.
You know,
I'm glad.
You know, Michael Wall, there's a few of us out
there. Yeah. But there's not very many Michael Meistercon Walls out there.
That's right. That's right. Well, and I said that to my son. I was like, I guarantee you nobody else will have this thing.
Yes. Yeah. If anything, it's original.
It's original. Yeah. Nobody will know what the heck it is, but we'll get there.
That's the risk you take, and that's authenticity for you. You know, putting something out there, and the risk that people won't get it initially, but the hope that some people do, and they tell their friends. That's what. Yeah,
you just got to hang in there till you build it up.
Keep doing great work. If you build it, they will come. That's not my quote, but yeah.
Did you come up with that?
Yes.
That's really great.
Don't quote me on that one. Yeah.
All right, man. Hold on one second. Really enjoyed that interview, Vas Saranga. I know you know who he is, but just in case you don't, you will soon. Make sure you're checking out You're My Hero. It comes out on March the 24th and just sounds terrific and a lot of fun. Comedy with heart, I think, is the best way to describe it. So definitely support him there. Check that out. I think we touched on most of the things I wanted to get with. He had an appearance on the Girlfriend Experience. We talked about the Strain and Orphan Black and Firestarter, American Pie. A lot of great stuff. So talented. Sounds like we're going to be hearing from him as a writer and a director as well. Just a really talented, nice guy. So I really enjoyed that interview. Hope you did as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. We definitely don't take that for granted. If you're finding us for the first time and you would like to support us, we could definitely use your help. It's really simple. It's free. If you prefer to watch, it's YouTube MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. Really does help us out. If you're listening, wherever you're listening to your podcast at, whatever application you're using, just subscribe there. That'll help us out as well. We have 551 episodes and counting. You can listen or watch all of those on our website, meistercon.com. So definitely check us out there. If we're doing anything in studio, like say watching You're My Hero this weekend or binging it, that'll be on there. If we're going on location, if we're covering a comic book convention or a gaming convention, all that'll be on the website, meistercon.com. So thank you guys so much. Until next time, bye everybody.